Hey, listeners, this is Kedrick, and this is the maiden episode of my third podcast. It's called Is This Your Chat? And the first person that I am chatting with tonight is a dear friend who I've known for 30 years, and he is pop royalty. I'm just saying he's pop royalty, and I have a list of reasons why, so let's just get it done. His name is Damon Sharpe. He is a singer, actor, dancer, DJ, music exec, vocal coach, record producer, and just one of the nicest guys in the entertainment industry I've ever met. And oh yeah, also the people he's written for, they've sold 40 million albums worldwide. 40 million. I mean, everyone does that. Anyway, Damon, thanks for joining us tonight. How are you tonight?
Dude, thank you for having me. I'm amazing.
Well, yeah, we
Amazing.
all knew that. Um, so yeah, I just decided that I just wanted to do one where I chat with people. I talk about music so much, and I've like I said, we've known each other for 30 years, and I'll get to that. But I'm so proud of you, first and
Oh, thank you, man.
foremost. Um, okay, so I have a list here on my little sticky note of some of the people that you have written for. So I'm gonna
Okay, nice.
So, listeners, this gentleman in front of me has written for or produced for Jennifer Lopez, Ariana Grande, Pitbull, Amerie, Monica, Charlie Wilson from the Gap Band, Kelly Rowland. He has done EDM DJ collaborations with Alesso, Ferry Corsten, and he has done UK acts, which this one really actually, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. He's written for A1, who I love,
Uh-huh.
Leona Lewis, and JLS. Let's just put a
Bro, you forgot Kylie Minogue. That's a great UK one. What are you talking about? Oh, she's on there. Okay.
see the stars. See the stars.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay, I got you. You
Oh,
got it.
Mister.
You're thorough. You're thorough.
And he's written for Anastasia
Mhm.
and my girl, my love, Kylie Minogue. Damon, you are just awesome. I was so proud today when I was actually looking for that kind of stuff. Like, who's he written for in this list? I was like, yeah, I can't. That would be the whole hour just listing people. And I've been to your studio, so I know that it's
Yes.
the real deal. When I came
Yep.
there, I was kind of like, oh wow, there's gold records everywhere. And he didn't buy them. He wrote, no, I'm kidding. So I'm so proud of you for doing this because I've known you for 30 years, and
Yep.
I always saw star quality in you. Like
Oh, thank you, man.
in your band that we will talk about,
Hmm.
you seem to be the one who wanted it. You
Yeah.
you were out there, you were making it work. And we followed you, me and my friend Rebecca followed you guys for a year, and it was so much fun for me personally because I was 20,
Mhm.
and I kind of needed something to believe in. And Rebecca was she was my girl Friday. We went everywhere together. We were inseparable. And yeah, you guys were so good to us. I just want to say that again. Thank you for being so kind with us back then, because you guys were just awesome. And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, so there you go. And I was surprised at how much K-pop stuff you have done. I'm not a big
Yeah, yeah. I've actually, ironically, as I was telling you earlier before we started recording, I was working with a really good friend of mine who's an amazing, huge J-pop producer, and I got early into K-pop and J-pop. I think, gosh, I probably had my first cut. I think I had a cut with Boa, if you know Boa. She was like an SM legendary K-pop artist, and that was like 2005. So I was super early in, and it was funny because all the people that were kind of poking fun at me they're like, why aren't you chasing after a Beyonce cut and a Rihanna cut? And I'm like, I love this is fun. I really like it. And then all those same people that kind of made fun of me for chasing K-pop and J-pop now are all like, oh bro, how do I get in? I want to work. I'm like, it's too late now. Like now it's crossed over and it's massive. So if you didn't already have your foot in the door, it's really
Well, I
difficult.
don't know you. Do I know you? I don't think I know you.
you know?
You know what? For me, I've always followed music, and K-pop is still one that's sort of like, I mean, BTS. My friend that I work with, Steven, who's older than
Mhm.
me,
Mhm.
he loves BTS. Like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I love Dynamite. I think it's
Yep.
great. I think they should do more English language, but that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's get into some history here.
Yeah, man.
The first time that you came into the consciousness of me
Mhm.
was on a little tour for a little female singer called, let's see, what was her name again? Tiffany.
Yep. Yep.
And when I talked to Trey and Damon, they cringe sometimes. I'm like, dude, Videopolis Star Treks was the shit. And
Oh,
it was the
bro.
four of you. It was Damon, it was you, Damon Butler,
Other Damon.
Trey
Yep.
Parker, and D. Caspery.
Yep. Yep.
You guys were almost more popular than her. Like people were talking about the four of you, like they should be in a band. And I know that half of them did do that.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, so that's where I came into the consciousness of you. And then in 1990, you were part of a group called the Guys Next Door.
Yep.
And for those of you who don't know, the Guys Next Door, and this is what, I mean, they say this, but you were kind of like a mix between New Kids on the Block and the Monkees.
100%. So just to rewind and tell you some funny anecdote, which you probably may or may not already know. So when I toured with Tiffany, obviously I was a little bit younger than the New Kids, so I kind of looked up to them like, my God, these guys are so cool. I would love to do something like this. And then I met. There were so many fun people around. We were just talking about Kid 90 that my friend Soleil directs. Soleil's at Moonfry. She was around when we were touring. Mark Wahlberg was around. It was just a really good clique of people. And I always clicked with like Jonathan, and I still keep in touch with Jonathan from New Kids over the years. And it's really funny because, okay, I'll get to Guys Next Door in a second, but also with the New Kids, fast forward, I'm going to jump around the timeline a bit. Sorry. Once I kind of remained really, I would say friends, definitely not more than acquaintances with Jonathan and Jordan. And I'll talk to them every once in a while. I worked with Jordan on his Nick and Night project with Nick Carter and him, did some vocal production. And then I got really lucky when they were working on their last EP. They took one of my songs and I produced and wrote a song on their record. So it came completely full circle from me being on the side of the stage as a kid going, these guys are so cool, I wish I was like them, to being in a pop boy band similar, which, like you said, we'll touch on that in a second. And then fast forward all these years later, after I've had a whole nother new reinvention of a career, and got to go back and produce for them. And then I went to the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas and saw them do my song. And it was so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the list too. Wait, hold on. See,
yeah, yep.
98 Degrees, Boys to Men, New Kids on the Block.
Oh yeah, yeah, but yeah. So I mean, yeah. So touching back to Guys Next Door, that was kind of one of those things where I came off the tour with Tiffany and New Kids, still a teenager, like, wow, what am I going to do? I love this. I'm having a fun time. And then I booked the pilot first. The pilot was actually called Boys Next Door first. And we shot literally within days of booking the pilot. We shot it like 2 days later over a weekend. And less than a month later, the show was picked up. So it was an overnight sort of thing. Right. And I literally tell people, I remember at one point, I was in Westwood, California. Like the show just started airing and I was in Westwood, California, and somebody goes, Damon Sharpe. And I was like, and I figured it was somebody I knew, and it was just somebody that knew me from the show. And it was so crazy to see it go so fast. And it started going, the TV show started getting traction. The music started getting traction. We were on all the cover of the teen magazines. And then I remember we went to go see, ironically, we went to a New Kids show in Albany, New York. And I remember it was when the show just started airing. So our road manager at the time was like, are you sure this is going to be okay? Like, people are probably going to know you. And we're like, we're brand new. Nobody knows us. You know what I mean? So we go to the show, and I don't remember who was opening. It was I think they were called Perfect Gentlemen. It was one of Maurice Starr's group was opening for New Kids, if I remember correctly. And we're like just in the crowd, we're jamming out, we're having a good time. And then all of a sudden the house lights come on, and like some girl looks over at us and starts screaming, and then another girl looks over, and then so a couple people knew, but then I think the rest was just mass hysteria because it triggers it. So we had to be physically escorted up to like a private suite, right? So we watched the show again like morons. We at the end of the show we're like, oh, everybody's gone, cool, we can leave now. No, we go downstairs, and it's literally like out of like you said, like the Monkees or the Beatles. We go downstairs, and all of a sudden one girl starts freaking out, and they're literally physically grabbing us as we're running to our car. And we get into I remember our road manager got us into the car, and girls are on top of the limo. I kid you not, this is from a movie. It's like a movie. A girl is hanging onto the old school, remember those old school boomerang looking things in the back of the limo?
Yes.
She's hanging onto it, and the road manager's like, floor it. And I'm like, no, don't go. And then they take off, and the girl goes, we're like, oh my God. And then she stands up, she's like, I love you. We're like, okay, she's okay, go. But yeah, we had some crazy moments, you know?
Now, was it all 5 of you at that show, or was it just a few?
I think that was all 5 of us. Yeah, there were times where, you know, some people didn't feel like going to something or whatever. And there were times when people got sick and, you know, but, you know, we generally, it was the 5 of us as much as we could, you know?
Wow. Yeah. Good times, the 90s, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Guys Next Door, you know, so I watched it, you know, I was 20. I don't know if I was too old for it, but for me, you know, back in the day with those groups, your group or New Kids or whatever, it was literally 10,000 girls and 5 guys.
Yeah.
So we, you know, myself, we got treated like gold because there were so few of us.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how many times I was in the Bel Lodge Hotel and nobody looked at me at all.
Right.
Here and girls were getting kicked out, and I'm just like,
like, oh, I just get to hang out. Yeah.
that was always helpful. So, but you know, I did like the show. Okay, I gotta say it. My favorite one was the Gals Next Door.
Oh yeah, no, that was epic. Are you kidding?
Damon, when you said, I think you said something to Bobby like, "Oh, she's mad because you know you call her conceited or whatever," and Patrick, Chris, and Eddie just broke.
Oh man, I wish you could see that. One day I have to digitize the footage and send it to you of the bloopers.
Mm-hmm.
We were literally crying. So you can probably see that in some of it when you watch it back. You can see us laughing because we were laughing so hard we couldn't stop laughing. And I was notorious for always flubbing my lines too and ad-libbing. So I would be in the middle and I would get yelled at because I would always want to make them laugh. So I would, you know, ad-lib something and, you know, and just crack the whole thing. And I don't remember what the exact line was. I think I somewhat ad-libbed it, and they were like, something about, well, I don't understand about your hair, Damon. Like, why is your hair? Or, well, I don't remember what my character's name, but it wasn't Damon. It was like Damona or something. Like, I don't remember what my exact character name was. And I was like, it's because I used mayonnaise and vinegar. That's why it bounces and shines so much. And then they just lost it. Yeah, they just died. Like, they just lost it.
And the funny thing is, later on when I met your mom,
that's basically my mom. Yeah.
I mean, I remember Rebecca and I laughing about that. I looked at her, I was like, he looks like his mom. And she, well,
oh yeah,
she's his mom. And I'm like, yeah, but these are the conversations that we had in the car.
Yep. Oh, and now with Reef, I don't know if you see, is it Reface? I think it's called the Reface app. Have you seen that? I've been being the gal next door again. Like I did the Spice Girls, I did Victoria's Secret. Huh?
Stop doing that. That's weird.
It's great. It's fun.
I watch them, and some of my friends that are like bears, they're putting themselves on like Taylor Swift things. I'm like, okay, you have too much time on your hands.
Stop. Right, exactly.
So the first time I physically met you, and I don't know if you remember this, but it was September 15th, 1990, Greek Theater. Wow. You were there with Damon Butler, and it was Tommy Page, Sweet Sensation, and Lanier. It was
yeah.
So you guys walk in, and we had backstage passes as well because we knew people.
Yeah.
Tommy gave them to us.
Oh yeah.
We had to be cool around him. We're like, oh yeah, thanks, Tommy. That's cool. Blah. Inside. And you and Damon walked in, and we talked for a minute, and we told you that we were going to see you guys in January of '91 in Sacramento. And you were like, oh, that's cool. And you know, I have a picture of you two, and you had the infamous flag hoodie.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yep.
That was your stationary look that year, my friend.
Yeah. I think I even had for some reason I had some like Doc Martens that had flags. It must have been the thing at the time. I'm not even like this, like, hey, I'm military. You know, it's just like it was just happened to be I had that. I don't know. You know,
the things that we wear to get to the point where we're at now. So
yeah.
And we had seen you guys at the Universal Amphitheater as well. That was the first time, and you guys just look so much, you know, like so much fun. And of course, the New Kids comparisons were going to start because that's how life is. But I don't think you guys were trying to be like them. It was just
No.
you're a group, they're a group, and there's 5 of you and there's 5 of them, and you guys were nice and they were new kids. Donnie was always nice. Donnie and John were always nice. Joe was
Yeah.
two. The other two, okay, cool. So but you guys look like you're having fun at the Universal, and it's like just like I said, you always had star quality because you're a great dancer, and you
Oh,
were in
thanks.
it to win it, Damon. You were in it to win it.
I still
And,
am. I'm still in it to win it. You know what I'm saying?
so I told myself, and Rebecca was like, "Don't fanboy out on him." I was like, "I'm not a fanboy. He knows me. He knows I'm gonna have signed."
Yeah, of course. You
Um,
gotta.
and I had to like today. I was listening to the music again. First of all, I had the album on iTunes. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, there we go.
But then I went on YouTube, and it's like, wow, some of those songs. So, like, just tell the people who may or may not know, like, what was the creative process with the guys next door? Were you guys given songs?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was so young at the time and I didn't have a ton of experience. So we didn't really get much involvement. You know what I mean? It's like they'd have us come in, we get to sing a little bit, and then it was like we were out. Like we didn't get to write anything. The only thing that I was kind of somewhat involved in bringing Bust Your Attitude in because I was friends with Howie Hirsch already, who's the producer of the song. And I had already kind of cut a version of that pre Guys Next Door. So I was like, dude, I got to get you on this record. So I was already kind of in my, even at 16, 17 years old, I was already in like an exec's mindset of, all right, I can get my friends in here. We got to do this. And, and I was always kind of the one, the nerdy one. And the guys would tell you, I was always the one kind of hovering over the producer and writer's shoulders because I wanted to learn. I appreciated the behind the scenes process. So I really tried to soak up as much as I could. But unfortunately, like I said, they didn't allow us to be that involved. It had to be done so fast. It was like rapid fire. Like, here's a song, here's a song, here's a song, here's a song. And it was like so fast.
And how did they come up with who was going to sing lead?
I don't even know if they had any sort of method, to be honest with you.
Okay. Did you all sing it and then they just cut somebody?
No, it was just weird. They'd be like, all right, you're doing this, you're doing that. And it was just kind of, it was rapid fire. And I think they were learning as they went, just like we were. You know what I mean? Like they didn't really know what to, what to do. And the interesting thing is, it's like we had at the time, Brandon Tartikoff was the head of NBC. He's the one that actually created the show for us, along with Vince Manzi and Deb McKay. And he was always such like a big supporter of us. And unfortunately, I don't know if you know, but he passed away. And that's probably the sole reason we got canceled, because he was such a cheerleader for us that he would like bring us to all the events and put us on a high priority NBC. And then when he passed, all of a sudden, all the people came out of the woodwork. Oh, we don't want them here anymore. Like, so it was a quick, it was a quick up. And at one point we were number one in all the Saturday morning ratings, even above Saved by the Bell. And I think that's what, between you and I think, I won't say that Peter Engel what came in and got canceled, but I feel like, and then because suddenly all of a sudden California Dreams came out, which was a band with a TV show. I was like, oh, this is kind of funny, now somebody has all the ownership now. And then, but anyway, it is what it is. And it all manifested the way it was supposed to. And I always tell people like that was such a life lesson for me, because I was, 17-year-old kid, I was cool to you guys, but I was also kind of full of myself because I'm 17, so you're still going to think you're cool. And, you're kind of being a dick sometimes and you try not to be, but you don't know any better. You're 17, so I say it was a life lesson for me to go from, taking pictures with Will Smith to 2 years later serving Will Smith, a Pepsi as a waiter. It's like I had God or whatever higher power had to smack me down and go, no, Damon, snap out of it. Stop being a little dick. And we're going to teach you a lesson. And thank God I went through that, because now I have the work ethic that I have today. And once I was fortunate enough to have another chapter in my life, now I just work my butt off. I have work ethic, and I will never, I never take for granted the things that I went through and the life lessons that I had to go through.
Right. So when they dropped the show, which was like must see TV Saturday morning for the teenagers,
we were shocked. We were shocked. We were shocked, but we were all very deluded and like, we don't need to worry about it. We'll be fine. We don't need that show anyway, and then it's like, then you're like, womp womp crickets, and nobody, you think they're going to be calling, and then you're just staring at the phone. Nobody's calling, and then also in our defense, we didn't know any better. And I think, when you're catapulted that quickly to having a doll and a board game and a TV show and a record deal, you think it's going to last forever, and then when it goes away, you're at the peak of your. We were doing signings for like 5,000 people. We were selling out places 1,500, 2,000 people, and it was growing. And then all of a sudden, the next day, it's like, oh, the show's canceled, record deals repealed, and then we're like, wow, okay. So we all kind of just scattered for a second, and we're like, oh, it's all going to be fine. And then all of a sudden 6 months goes by, a year goes by, you spend up all the money you made. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, okay, now I'm on unemployment. Then the unemployment runs out. And then you're like, okay, now I got to get a real job. And which is great. Like I said, thank God I did. But at the time you're like, oh my God, I can't get a real job. People are going to know me from the show, and I'm going to be embarrassed. And once I got past that, like I said, it was a God-given gift. You know what I mean? Because then after that, will never ever be embarrassed again in my life, because it's like, once you've been humbled and you've accepted that humbleness, people can shit on me all day long. And I'm like, go ahead, I'll just shit on myself harder. You know what I mean? Like I've been up and down, and I don't even know if you don't know all of my chapters, but then after that, I ended up busting my butt. I went back to school for music. I was auditioning again. I got a new agent. I was waiting tables, doing anything I could. Then I met my mentor at the time, a guy by the name of Rick Wake, who's a legendary, amazing producer, multiple Grammys, who put me in yet another boy band, right? Which weirdly enough, you might know this, they were called Unheard Of, which became a self-fulfilling prophecy because it never came out. But we were signed through 3 different labels. We got signed initially to A&M, then that deal folded. Then we were signed to Epic, that folded. Then the very last deal, after 3 years of being this group, going back and forth to New York like every month and living there for a full year, we got handed a deal with Warner Brothers Records. And at that time, something in my heart was like, this is not for me anymore. You know what I mean? This is not for me. 3 years. I don't think this is the right fit. And I got on a conference call, and I remember saying that. And in my mind, I knew it was the right decision. In my heart, I knew it was. In my stomach, I was dying, because I was like, okay, now I'm about to be broke again. And my parents, they would have supported me, but I wanted to do it on my own. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right. I said, guys, this isn't for me. I hung up the phone. I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? All right, unemployment office, I need unemployment again. I'm broke again, and broke again, trying to pay my bills. I had moved out, and had my own place, and I was trying to afford to pay for that, and I couldn't. And, I kind of just had to trust fate, and I just kind of went into a free fall. And I just, again, kept continuing working hard. Any money I would make, I would put in the studio, kind of just honing my craft. And over those 3 years, the blessing was I got to look over the shoulder of all the best pop producers and songwriters. Right. Working on that album that never came out, so I was just soaking it up, right? And then, as fate would have it, about a month or 2 after that happened, I get a call from Rick, who's the producer, and he's like, dude, I found this, CD of songs on my desk, and there's some really good songs there. He's like, you wrote these? And I'm like, yes, I've been trying to tell you for the past 3 years that I'm not just the boy band kid, but you always looked at me like that. And I said, I really want to produce and write. He's like, well, there's some great songs in here. He goes, why don't you come work with me as a writer? And I'm like, man, I was over there for 3 years. I don't know if it's the right fit. He goes, Damon, trust me, it'll be different if you're with me as a writer. He's like, let me just prove it to you. I'm gonna work these songs, and I'm gonna call you back. And I'm like, sure. I'm never gonna hear from him. Click, hang up the phone. Just go about my business. Sure enough, about a month goes by, and he's like, dude, I got a couple of your songs placed. And I'm like, again, I didn't understand the gravity of what that meant at the time. I was just like, oh, okay, wow, cool. And he's like, yeah, do you know who Anastasia is? And I was like, no, I've never heard of her. And he's like, oh, she's about to blow up. She's about to be big overseas. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, she wants to cut your song, Love Don't Cost a Thing. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And he goes, you know who Jennifer Lopez is? I was like, oh yeah. Because at the time she wasn't J-Lo yet, but she had If You Had My Love, Let's Get Loud, and I think Waiting for Tonight. Those are the 3 she had, but she wasn't huge. She was bubbling, right? She was almost there. And he goes, she wants to cut your song, Why'd You Lie to Me? And I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. And he's like, all right, I'm going to keep you posted. Boom, hangs up. Again, I'm like, I just figured I'd never hear back. And again, I didn't understand the gravity of it, right? So about a month goes by. Then my friend who was an intern at a label calls me, not Rick, and goes, Damon, did you write a song for Jennifer Lopez? And I'm like, maybe, I think so. And she's like, I'm looking at the back of R&R magazine. You need to go to a newsstand right now. And I'm like, okay. So I skirt off to a newsstand. I pick up the magazine. I'm like, Jennifer Lopez, Love Don't Cost a Thing. And I'm like, and first of all, I'm like, wait, she wasn't supposed to cut that. Anastasia was supposed to cut that, right? So I call Rick, and he's like, yep. He's like, I didn't want to jinx it. He's very much like me. I'm the same way. I don't like to talk about something until it manifests. And he was like, dude, he's like, it switched. First of all, it switched hands. Jennifer didn't even want to do the song initially. Then she wanted to cut it. Then it made the album. Then within days, it became the first single off of that album. And he's like, it goes to radio this week. And I was like, what? And he goes, dude, will you come work with me now? Will you come sign? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, Anastasia's doing Why'd You Lie to Me like in 2 weeks as well. I was like, wow, okay. So within days, flew me to New York. And the funny thing is I had so many snakes came out of the woodwork at that point. All the people that were like, that didn't want to F with me, right? Are now like, oh, Damon, I heard you got this. Why don't you come sign with me? Come sign with me. Come sign with me. And I was like, I'm signing with this guy that had my back when nobody wanted to sign me, right? All the cynical people that were kind of laughing were now coming back around, right? Because that's how it works. So I said, nope, I'm loyal to Rick. So I signed to Rick, and I had a really good run with him. I was hit with him for almost 7 years, and we got a Grammy for the Chicago soundtrack. Monica, J-Lo, Anastasia, Genuine. I mean, on and on and on. We worked on so many projects together. He brought me in on so many great projects. And I'm so thankful for him. And then after that, I was for about a year, I just kind of free floated and just did my thing through my own network. And then I ended up signing a deal with Sony ATV, which lasted for about another 7 or 8 years. And I had some really good cuts to that. That's where I did my Kylie Minogue cut and Alesso. And probably for about 5 years, I worked with Big Time Rush, which was ironically the next Guys Next Door that just lasted longer than Guys Next Door. And I remember the first day I worked for them, and I don't know if you're familiar about how huge they were, but at one point, their last tour through Live Nation, they sold, I think, 500,000 tickets, and they got paid $10 million to do the tour. So I watched it go from nothing all the way to huge, right? And the day that I worked with them, the first day I was like, hey guys, I was in a group similar to your guys that had a TV show and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, cool. Yeah, buddy, whatever. And then the next day we came back in and they were like, oh, bro, we're so sorry. Dude, that's so cool. It's exactly the same thing. And then from then on, we were all inseparable, and they're still all like my little brothers. Like we talk all the time, and we were inseparable for like 5 years. I did probably 20 songs with them, and I toured with them twice, literally went on a recording bus with them for weeks at a time and did the albums, went to we went so many places together. We went to Vancouver together when they did their movie. We've been in Vegas together. And so it became my second set of brothers to my Guys Next Door brothers. You know what I mean? So
I actually saw them support Carly Rae Jepsen. Does that sound
okay? Maybe could be
like on her first tour. I think it was Big Time Rush.
Could be. No, that couldn't be, because I think they were already doing their own tour at that point. She might have opened for them, because like I said, they were playing 15, 20,000 seaters.
Maybe it wasn't Big Time Rush. Shoot. Anyway, but I do know who Big Time Rush is. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't go on a support tour if you're doing a movie already, or
they had their own TV show. Yeah, they were even in the beginning. I think they were playing like 3,000 to 5,000 seaters themselves. This is a funny anecdote. They were offered, and this was a big mistake on their management side. They were going to trade. So One Direction was going to open for them, and they were going to open for One Direction overseas. And it didn't pan out. And imagine, like, that would have been a huge thing for them. You know what I mean? But like I said, they still did amazing. We still sold a lot of records and had a great time. And it's actually going to start airing on Netflix, I think, next week or this week. So I'm going to have my daughter watch it, and she'll get to hear all the songs I did, and it'll be really fun.
It's funny because, like, the whole like boy band thing, for me, it kind of started with, I was young, like the Jacksons, New Edition, New Kids on the Block, Guys Next Door. Because like back then, it was just really U2. It wasn't like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees.
Oh, and it was funny. There's an interview that New Kids did with what's his name? Andy Cohen. Yeah. And somebody told me, they're like, they just talked about you. I was like, really? And this was even before I worked on the song with them. And Donnie was like, yeah, he's like, they said, was there a competition or something? He's like, back then, he's like, I think it was us and maybe like Boys Next Door, Guys Next Door. I'm like, dude, you know the damn name. Don't try to say like you don't know the name, Donnie. Come on. No, so then like I said, then it was funny. It was funny. But yeah, I think we were like there were a lot of other boy bands, you know what I mean? And like I said, I think we were on a trajectory. I just think, unfortunately, when Brandon passed, we had a lot of haters that didn't want to see it happen, and they had spent a lot of millions of dollars, and they haven't quite made the money back at that point. So it was just, it was.
So did you guys want to stay together, or?
Yeah, well, I think a few of us did. I mean, especially myself and Patrick, we were doing everything we could to try to keep it together. Like Patrick's dad, Tony, was trying to help us get a tour funded for Japan. And he was really kind of putting his foot in there. I was like, dude, let's do some rehearsals. And I think, again, everybody was kind of teenagers and deluded, thinking that, oh, we'll be fine. Hollywood's going to come calling. You know, you're just that deluded. You don't realize that how easily it just shuts its doors. You know what I mean? But, you know, like I said, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Like I'm so thankful the way things unfolded, and the fact that now I've had a whole new, you know, it's funny that you said pop royalty. I definitely don't look at myself like that. But one of my best friends, Jeremy Scholar, he gave me the term king of reinvention. And now I'm owning that. I'm owning that. So it's like I've had all these chapters, and now I'm in this new chapter, as you said, where I've been doing dance music for about, I mean, I've always loved dance music, but the last 4 or 5 years, I've been going hard, working with so many, collaborating and producing, writing for different EDM DJs. And then about 2.5 years ago, I was talking to my attorney, and he's like, dude, he's like, why are you not putting your name on any of these records in the EDM space? And I'm like, well, I'm not, I'm not DJing anymore. And he's like, hello, yeah. He's like, why are you not spinning? And I'm like, dude, I said, I used to play around on records. I said, but now it's CDJs. And he's like, stop making excuses. He's like, go and get a mentor in DJing and learn CDJs and watch. And I'm like, okay, again, the cynic in me is like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. And then I did it, and I rediscovered the love. And I probably for about a year was here at my studio in the back with my DJ mentor, just going in, just trying to get my skill set up. And as I was doing that, I started landing all these collabs with like Gattuso and Dave Winnell and Ferry Court and all these Morgan Page and all these massive DJs. And now I'm signed to Armada as an artist. I never would have thought at this point in my life I'd be doing an artist project again. But it's been panning out. Dude, I have 50 million streams as an artist on Spotify now.
Yeah,
it's
I was going to say, congrats on lost years.
It's what?
Congratulations on lost years.
Thank you. Yeah. That one. We actually have a remix package coming out on April 2nd. That Disco Fries did a remix of it, Cuba Core, Jong Hyun, and then one with Darko's coming out in about a month. So we're kind of packaging it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's hard. Obviously, it's harder to push hard in the middle of the pandemic. So we want to make sure it gets its fair shake. And yeah. I mean, I have like 9 other collaborations in the works right now. So I'm just really excited. And
only 9?
Yeah, that's it. I know. I'm underachieving.
Is it a slow week for you? Only 9. I actually listened to it today for the first time.
Sick.
And yeah, it's awesome. I mean, like I said, well, the first time that I actually saw your name on something was Anastasia's Why'd You Lie to Me?
Yeah.
I was a fan from the start.
Okay.
I love, and I don't know what's up with America. I don't know.
I know.
And sing. Well, we don't get it. We'd rather
her, Kylie, Robbie Williams. Like, how do you not get that? Like, but it's just, you know, it is what it is. But I will say this with Kylie, and right after I did Get Out of My Way for Kylie, blew up, right? And then I was like, God, I wish it was huge here. But I went to the Hollywood Bowl, and it was so serendipitous because it was like 15,000 people going crazy on my song. And I was like, oh, you know, I was like, this is a moment, you know?
Yeah, I remember talking to you, and I was going to London to see her at Hyde Park.
Oh, yeah.
And you said to me, you're like, take a video of Get Out of My Way. And I was like, okay. And when it came on, I was like,
yep.
And I think I tagged you or sent you it.
Yep.
I'm so jealous of that. I need to meet her. So you need to make that happen, Damon. I mean, I never ask you for anything, but I need Kylie. No, I'm just kidding. So, I've always loved her. And
yeah. And dude, I'll tell you, she is so amazing. Like, I only worked with her for like 3 days, but she was so gracious, so kind, so ridiculously humble. Like, it's insane. Because I didn't just do Get Out of My Way. I also did a song called Go Hard or Go Home. That was the B-side to All the Lovers. Oh,
yes. See, I didn't know that. I mean, I know that song.
Yeah.
I guess I'm slipping in my know-how. So, well, why don't we take a little break? And then when we come back, we're going to talk about like some of your career highs, lows, influences, and all that stuff right here on the maiden voyage of Is This Your Chat with my good friend Damon Sharpe. Hey, listeners, welcome back to Is This Your Chat? And I'm here with my good friend Damon Sharpe, and he is graciously joining us tonight. And the guy's busy. He's got 9 projects. I get him for an hour. I have him for like 20 more minutes, and we're going to get this done. So when you were in The Guys Next Door, you know, we saw you in Sacramento, and we saw you at the airport. And I remember hearing you say, I met them at the Greek.
Oh, and damn.
I think that helped the other ones like, oh, well, who are they?
Right.
Because we were always known as the black guy and the girl with long red hair. that's
Yep, yep.
what we were, because that's what we were. And you guys were just so cool with us then. And then you guys got the Timmy T tour, and we saw you at Oxnard,
Uh-huh.
Oxnard.
That was fun.
And
Yeah.
I remember jumping in Eddie's car because, or no, wait, yeah, it was Eddie's car because he was dating Tiffany Amber Thiessen at the time, and I
Yep.
jumped in the car, and she kind of was like, who are you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Eddie goes, he's cool. Like, thanks,
Yep,
bud.
yep.
So yeah, so then the last time I remember seeing you was Rick D's Into the Night.
Oh yeah.
Chris had done something to his back.
Yep.
I've been waiting for you had hit, so you guys were performing that, and Chris was
Yeah.
he was so still. And then you guys did Bust Your Attitude, and that was your time. And you guys did it as a four-piece, and Patrick and Bobby were kind of in the back, and you and Eddie were spinning around singing and stuff. You guys
Oh, wait, don't you remember? I was so bitter because I did a suicide flip. If you know what that is, where you flip onto your back, and the damn camera guy didn't get it. I was like, oh my God, I just almost killed myself. You didn't even get didn't get the shot. But
they got Eddie's, when
pirouettes is his famous
pirouettes, and you're like, Bust Your Attitude. You're like,
yep, yep.
me and Becca were like, Eddie, stop spinning. But you guys are awesome. So did you fight for that to be a single, or did you just kind of fight for that?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those, it didn't become a single. I was trying to fight for it. I mean, the label had their own political agenda or whatever. And like I said, we didn't really, because of the way things shook out, it was weird because I've Been Waiting for You basically it broke the top 40, but then it, got only so high. And then all of a sudden, as we were about to shift to the next single, that's when everything folded down. Like I said, it was as fast as it started. It folded so quickly too. You know what I mean? That was the bummer, because we spent our whole 40 city radio promo tour promoting I've Been Waiting for You. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was crazy.
That was a great song. The video was kind of weird. Your guys' videos started off cool, but the monkey.
Yeah, I think I Was Made for You was only real video. All the rest were kind of comical, if that makes sense.
I mean, Bobby Can't Dance. That was comical.
Yeah, Bad Hair Day doesn't really count.
And the album, I think that there could have been songs taken out and other songs put in. I think Parasite should have been out, and I Go to Pieces should have been on there. I loved I Go to Pieces.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, you guys were just, you guys were awesome. And you guys did the one that had the music to Young MC's Bust a Move.
Oh yeah, was it a mall thing? No, that's a different one. Patrick did a skit called Old MC. Patrick did a skit called Old MC.
Yeah,
but we also used Wild Thing, and we did Mall Thing.
But you guys did a video. It was called Home Videos.
Yes. That was actually in the pilot. We shot that for the pilot, and they used it in the actual show.
That was really funny. I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, these guys have humor. I think you guys should have went further, but you know what? Like you said, it went the way it's supposed to, and now you guys came back a couple years ago for a reunion. I hadn't seen Patrick or Chris for 27 years.
Wow.
And they knew. I mean, Patrick goes, "Hey, Kendrick," and I was like, "How?" And Chris does not like to be hugged and stuff. And he was standing there, so I walk in, and he has back to us. And I walked up to him, and I just went around his waist.
I love it.
Stiff, and he turned around. I go, "Hi, Chris." He was he's like, "Only you, Kendrick, could do something like that," and not. And I was like,
right.
And that was such a great night to be there with you guys.
It was fun, yeah.
To meet the wives, girlfriends, and such, and your wife was she was so kind to me.
Oh, thank you.
We talked about stuff. I was like, yeah, I think they should do something. I think it's their time. They've been gone long. Damon's a writer. Let's do this. I said it could be called Secret Weapon, and we were talking about it. She gave me her number. We were kind of conspiring for a minute. Don't tell I said that. And I just thought that would have been so cool, because who knows, but and you would have to do it as a 4-piece because somebody has gone missing.
Yep.
Oh, Bob. Anyway.
Yeah.
There always seems to be one in the band that doesn't want to be there. So I'm like, well, then why are you there? You know, and how did you guys, like, how did that, well, because he wanted to be an actor,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
And yeah, Bobby was cool. Bobby was always kind to me. I mean, he was sort of standoffish with other people, but I think he knew that he was my favorite. So
Yeah.
so yeah, Guys Next Door, that was amazing. So yeah, Anastasia, that was the first time I heard that you had a writing credit. You and Damon wrote Why'd You Lie to Me?
Yep. Yep.
And Paid My Dues.
Yep.
And yeah, when Love Don't Cost a Thing came out by Jennifer Lopez, I kind of was like, oh, is she going to try and do something else? It's like, maybe she should just stop with the first stuff, which was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. But I was like, and then I heard it. I was like, oh. I was like, that was, I mean, for me, that was the one that sent me on the J-Lo train. And I mean, it was the #1 single all over the world. So I was like, wow, Damon's really doing this. He's not just putzing around with this thing. So did you just submit songs a lot and then people would pick them, or did you actually say, hey, I want to write with these people?
It's different every time. It's a different scenario every time. Sometimes I'll submit a song and then the artist will cut it. Sometimes they bring me in to write with the artist. Sometimes I come in just to produce. They'll say, oh, we have this song, so-and-so's doing it. It's written already, but we need production, and then I produce it. So the process really varies a lot. But that's what keeps it fresh and fun. You know what I mean? That's why I enjoy it, you know?
If you had to collaborate with anyone, past, present, dead, or alive, who would it be?
Ah, damn, Michael Jackson. That would have been my one. And I was so close. I was in close proximity right before he passed. Really? A lot of my peers were working with him. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm like 1 degree of separation. I'm this close. And then, you know, like, damn.
That was a sad day, Damon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm older than you by a couple of years. And that was like, ooh, that doesn't happen. People don't pass. And then 2016 was too much. I was like, okay, you need to stop.
Yeah.
Lost too many. You know, I was dating a guy named Steve at the time, and Christmas Day, he goes, are you sitting down? And I was like, yeah, why? And he goes, George Michael died. I go, Steve, you know what I'm saying? I was like,
yeah, okay, you're like, please, no, he couldn't have, right? Yeah.
And he turns his iPad around, and I was like,
yeah.
I mean, I was working at Trader Joe's because I worked there for 11 years. And the day Prince died, I was on an aisle and a lady goes, and I was like, what? And she goes, Prince died. And I was like, what?
Yep.
And that was the whole conversation for the whole day at Trader Joe's was Prince dying. It's like, and Bowie and Glenn Fry and Pete Burns from Dead or Alive. And it made me personally like look at my mortality, like, you know, because I just turned 50. I mean, I know I don't look at black on crack. So but yeah, it just like, I'm very like, I like the things that I like, and I will always like the things that I like. I'm trying to be more open to the new stuff. I'm that guy now. I'm like, look at these kids listening to
yeah, exactly.
And one of my friends were like, yeah, now you're the guy that was giving you shit in the 80s. I was like, oh, no. 80s music was the shit. And they're like, because now I work for Alaska Airlines, and it's a lot of youngins.
Yeah.
You know, they like to say old man and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can pull this 500-pound cart. What can you do?
Can you? Yeah, exactly.
You
know?
No,
and honestly, I have no choice as a creator working with Gen Z and Gen Y. Like, I have to keep up with what's out there, even if I don't like it. So I always tell people, I'm like, it doesn't mean that I have to like it. I have to at least digest it. Sometimes I am no joking. I'll listen to something like 20 times. I'm like, all right, I don't get this. What is it that they like? And then I usually find what it is, whether it's something relatable in the concept, whether it's a rebellious nature that they grasp onto, were they bullied, and that's why they're, you know, there's usually certain through lines why we gravitate towards certain artists. And then like you said, some are just great artists. So it's like there's so many different reasons why people will like something, even with a certain song, why it blows up. And maybe a novelty song like Old Town Road, you're like, wow, this is really cheesy, but okay, when you start to break it down, you're like, it's really hooky. It's got a hooky guitar line, and it's like, okay, now I get it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be bumping in my car, but I get it. You know what I mean? So
Come on, you wouldn't bump the Dave Auday remix of Old Town? No, I'm just kidding. So as far as like, your career, as far as right now, like, what do you feel is your highest thing, and then something that is a low point?
Oh man. I mean, I've had so many really great high points. You know what I'm saying? Like just being on Guys Next Door was a huge high point. My J-Lo record was a huge high point. Getting the Grammy for Chicago was a huge high point. Get Out of My Way was a huge high point. Getting signed to Armada at all these years later is a huge accomplishment. But I guess I definitely had I had some hard low times. I mean, there was a time, and this is probably why Patrick and I are so close. We were both so broke at one point. We lived in single apartments next to each other, kid you not, and we would hand each other toilet paper to borrow because we were so broke, and we would have to wait till we got to our jobs to eat dinner. And granted, like I said, he could have went to his parents, I could have went to my parents, but I did not want to do that. I wanted to make my own way. You know what I mean? And he did as well. So man, those were some dark times. And I remember just being really out of shape and not happy with the way I felt and not balanced. And, that was a dark time. And then, like I said, after the second boy band imploded and I opted out on the Warner Brothers deal and was on unemployment again, I'm like, wow, am I ever going to get another chance at this? And then I just stopped having a pity party for myself, and I stopped listening to the dark voices, and I was like, F this, I'm going to do this. And that's when I just started, again, I had another resurgence in my body, and I was like, all right, I'm, going to work. I remember at one point I was interning at a runner at a studio, and I was cleaning toilets. I was doing whatever I had to do, you know what I'm saying, to get my foot in the door. And then sure enough, that's why I always tell people, if you just do the work, it may take long. It may take, some people it's quick, some people it takes longer. And that's why, like I said, my friend says you're the king of reinvention. And I take pride in that, because I'm like, I'm going to keep reinventing myself. I'm going to keep having chapters, because now I'm like, some people don't even know me from my Guys Next Door chapter. Some people don't know me from my J-Lo chapter. People in the dance world don't really know those two until I was in Amsterdam, and I'm working with some huge DJs named Sonnery James and Ryan Marciano. I don't know if they are. They're massive. They play Tomorrowland, all these places. And I'm talking to Sonnery, and he's like, oh, so then, and I start telling him some of my past, and he's like, what? He's like, how am I just learning this? You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I feel like I've lived all these lives, and I'm just getting started still. You know what I mean? And there's fun in that. And I try not to allow that. Some people will let that defeat them. And I'm like, you can't let that defeat you. You have to go, it's a journey, right? Enjoy the process. And once I understood that there are ups and downs, I was able to function better. I think when you're first hit your low point and you don't know that it's gonna be, even if you are Timbaland or Pharrell, they've had ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody has them. Lady Gaga had a period where that they spent 20 million on that record and it flopped. People got fired. You know what I mean? So we all have our hot and cold moments. Nobody's always at 100. So I think, and that's not just in your career, that's in life. We all have our shitty moments where a relationship doesn't pan out, but you know what? We all think it's the end of the world, but it's like, you know what? It's only the end of the world if we let it be the end of the world, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I knew you back then, that was 1990, 91, a few years later, drugs entered my life, and, I was kind of absent for 10 years, and I don't know if I would say I had low points, but like, it was just like, I wasn't focused.
Yeah.
And, now I'm sober, and
Good.
I'm really trying to be the person now that will follow through. I was the king of procrastination. And
yeah.
I mean, I've wanted to do this podcast for years, and I just had my 2-year anniversary. And
great.
I mean, people are like, dude, you know so much about music, you need to do something with that.
Yep.
And I kind of feel like there might be a resurge. I might be sending you lyrics. I don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've just been like, for me personally, like you were saying, how some things happen quickly and whatever, for me, 63 episodes of a podcast.
No, that's amazing.
That's
a huge accomplishment. Yeah.
And, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I don't have ads on there that aren't just the free ones, the testers. Like, I'll hear all these other podcasts and they're like, yeah, you should get net gear, blah, blah. And I'm just like, that's not why I'm doing it. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? If
Yep.
that happens, great.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of putting myself out there, and I'm so happy with myself, and who knows who knows what's going to happen. But so actually, and you were on the X Factor season 2.
Yes. Yeah, that was a short, it was a short stint. It was, they brought me in to be an on-camera vocal coach, and uh, you know, uh, obviously I can't say off the record because we're on the record, but I just personally didn't like the way that they go about handling things, the way that they talk to the contestants. It's very manipulative, and I don't like that. And that's a lot of reality shows. You know what I mean? I actually did a Canadian show called it was YTV's Supergroup, which is the equivalent of Nickelodeon here, and that was a beautiful experience. I was there for like 4 months in Toronto. They treated the contestants like gold. The producers were amazing. And then I came back in 2014 to do the finale, and that was amazing. And unfortunately, it didn't get picked up, but it was a great experience, and that allowed me to see like the really a good side of reality television. You know?
See, me being a music purist, like, I don't watch those shows
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
I didn't watch Idol. I didn't watch X Factor, even though Gary Barlow was on there. I didn't watch it. Didn't watch The Voice.
I've written with Gary before, right?
Huh?
I've written with Gary.
Yes, and we were going to get to that. That's on the list.
Okay.
Um, uh, I just don't. I don't need to see people's dreams be dashed. I just want to hear the music. Now, Idol, they produced some pretty good stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The Voice, I don't think I've ever even heard anyone.
Yeah, unfortunately, I always tell people The Voice is more about the judges than it is about the singers, unfortunately, the
I
way
mean,
that it's produced.
and X Factor UK has made
Yeah, they've
Little
done.
Mix and
Yeah,
Ollie Murs and
yep,
even 1D, even though I didn't like them because they were
yep,
lazy. I saw them in concert. They don't have
yeah.
showmanship. They don't do
Right, right.
any dance routines, and they didn't have it. But like, I mean, X Factor here, I think GRL was on, I think.
Okay.
Fifth Harmony, Fourth
Yep,
Harmony. You call them
yep.
Fourth
Fifth Harmony. Yeah,
Harmony now because Chicky left.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, ah, so who are your influences? Like, who besides Michael Jackson? You just said you'd want to
yeah.
collaborate with him, but like when you were little, who were your influences, and kind of where has that like changed or morphed?
Yeah, I mean, I was really lucky because my parents played a lot of music around the house, right? So it was very eclectic. So they would play Stevie Wonder, and they would play Hall and Oates, and they would play the Temptations, and then they would play Peter Frampton, and it was really literally like a jukebox. So I got to soak up a lot of different influences. And I think for me, like you said, unfortunately, my trifecta of people that influenced me the most all passed. George Michael, Prince, and Michael Jackson. Those were like my three go-tos, and they all passed. But on the creative side, I mean, I always loved Ellie and Babyface and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Rick Rubin. There's a lot of people that I loved on that, in the production and songwriting side, that I looked up to.
Because they had a sound.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah,
could tell a song that was Ellie and Babyface because there was
yep.
that little. They had this
Yeah,
little,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
drum
Jimmy Jam and Terry
programming, and
Lewis.
yeah.
I heard a song the other day and I was like, oh, well, that's got to be Rhythm Nation album, and it was like Johnny Gill's on his.
It was Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was a big Stock Aitken Waterman fan,
Oh
so
yeah, they did great stuff. Yeah.
Jimmy Brown and Venus and
Yep.
all that
Yep.
stuff. I'm very happy that I have music in my life because it is truly the thing that is me. It is
Yep.
me. If you've never met me before, you will soon know that music is my thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like, I'm so proud of you, Damon. I'm so proud of you. I was so glad to see your parents. Okay, your mother remembered my name. I said, how do you remember my name? She goes, why wouldn't I remember your name, Kedrick? And I was like,
Right.
where am I at?
Yeah.
But your parents were always cool when they came along. And Rebecca, she's
Oh,
gonna
they're the best. Yeah, they're the
kill me
best.
for telling you this, but she you were her favorite, duh.
Right.
And you know, when she met your parents the first time, she was so nervous. I was like, "What are you nervous about?" She's like, "It's his parents." I was like, "Yeah, just go and talk to them like a normal person." She's like, "I can't do it." I was like, he goes, "What if Bobby's parents are here?" I said, "Bobby's parents aren't here. Damon's parents are here."
Yeah, yeah.
And like I said, your wife is absolutely beautiful, and
I'm lucky. Yeah,
I'm
I'm so
sure you
lucky.
have a beautiful. You have one daughter, correct?
Yep. Yeah,
And
she's amazing. She
she
just
was
turned
just
7.
like, yeah, she was so awesome. I'm so glad that I got to go to that, the reunion, you know. And I mean, we wanted you guys to sing, but whatever. You know, the guy flew in from Australia. That's cool, you know. But I just, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to know you. Um, you were always so kind to us. I mean, going to Jerry's Deli and you would call our friends on the phone. They would get so. Why did you have Damon and Chris call us? Because we could.
You're right.
Okay, because you like
Yeah.
them. You know, I mean, that was those kind of things will never happen again. Maybe it's because we're older, but like I look back on those days and I mean, Rebecca and I didn't have a penny between us. We
Yeah.
had my car
Hmm.
and we drove places and we somehow made it work.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I will always be appreciative of the time that I got with you guys. And I'm not gonna get. I'm not gonna get. I'm cool.
Verklempt.
I'm not gonna get. So what's next for you?
Oh man, it's like I said, I've got a lot of collaborations in the works right now with different DJs. I've got a really sick one with Loud Luxury and Vivid. Who else? Jeez, Disco Fries. Um, Gosh, I can't keep track. Like I said, I've got so many in the hopper, but I'm excited. Trust me, I'm equally excited about all of them. And then, like I said, April 2nd, the Lost Years remix package comes out. It'll be available on all platforms. And then I've got 2 other singles that just got greenlit, so we have to figure out stagger those out. But I'm super excited about those. And then just working on a lot of different projects. Next month I'll have the Martinez twins in town for about 2 weeks. I don't know if you know who they are. They're massive influencers. They've got about 50 million followers on all their platforms, and it's a little more. It's kind of a reggaeton kind of vibe, reggaeton kind of trap Latin pop, and so that's fun. It's a little outside my wheelhouse, so I'm having fun with that. I just bring in like really killer top line writers to kind of collaborate with me and stuff like that. Um, yeah. So, and then hopefully more traveling. I mean, I was all over the place. And right before COVID, 2018, 2019, I was in Amsterdam, London, China, Denmark, Mexico, Miami, New York. I mean, I was all over the map. And then skirt, obviously it all slammed shut. But that's gonna be the fun part. Once it opens up, I'll be playing, live shows as a DJ, and then I can kind of I say piggyback on it. Let's say I'm in the UK, I can play some shows and I can write and produce for some artists. So it'll be like an epic piggybacking experience, multitasking kind of life.
Well, all I know is they better open up England before November because I've got tickets to see Steps, 5 shows, 3 meet
Oh
and greets.
damn.
So I'm going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm going because I can fly there for $150 on Alaska.
Damn.
I'm
There
gonna be
you
there
go.
every weekend. They're like,
Yep,
"Hey,
yep.
wait, weren't you in London last weekend?" Yeah,
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
and I'm actually seeing Gary Barlow on my birthday, December
Oh,
11th,
sick.
and
Is it Take That or is it his own thing?
it is his solo thing.
Oh, amazing.
And
Yeah, I wrote with
that's
him.
another. Yeah, I
I
mean,
actually wrote with him twice. I actually wrote with him twice. I wrote with him at a camp a Sony camp, and then I wrote with him at it wasn't his house, it was Elliot Kennedy's house.
yeah,
It was, and we did a couple of records. One of them ended up on an Australian boy band. I can't remember what they're called.
Human
The song,
Nature,
what is it?
the Human Nature, the group.
No, they were short-lived, but I think they were on Sony Australia, and the song was called "No Good and Goodbye," and it was me, Gary Barlow, Elliot Kennedy, and my really dear friend Lindy Robbins. It was the 4 of us.
I know who it is.
Yeah, if you find it, tell me.
It
Something
starts with
four
an
phase
A. I think it starts with an A
or
because
phase
it was on.
4 something.
Yeah, it was on the list right under A1.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So let me just ask you one more thing before I let you go. So, God, I have 2 or 1. So, what's the one common myth about your profession that you would like to debunk?
Wow, that's a tough one. I guess the one thing I would say is everybody just thinks that it's easy. to be honest with you. And they don't think it's a lot of work. And I think there were a lot of cynical people, and it's very rare for me to get upset, but I get really upset when people, and you can appreciate this because you love music. There were so many people and they're still doing it with streaming. They don't feel like, just because I do something that I love doesn't mean that I shouldn't get paid for it, right? But people are like, oh, you get to do music. Just shut up and take the pennies that they're paying you. And I just don't feel that's fair. It's like the old saying, like, just because it takes me 30 minutes to do the work, I've worked 10 years to be able to get fast enough to do certain things. But it doesn't mean that people shouldn't be compensated for their work. So that's one of the things I would say is it's not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifices, no matter what level you're at.
Yeah, because I mean, your family doesn't travel with you, or do they?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. Yeah.
So, well, where can our listeners connect with you?
I'm pretty much at Damon Sharpe on all platforms. So, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, which I'm not that active on yet. Facebook is official Damon Sharpe. Spotify is just Damon Sharpe. And then all my DJ mixes. I actually have I have to plug this too, I forgot. I have a podcast, but it's not a podcast like this. It's basically an hour of curated music by me, all pre-released music that hasn't come out yet. It's on Insomniac Radio once a month, the second Friday of every month. It's called Damon Sharpe Presents Brainjack Radio. And like I said, it's about 60 minutes of music, and I talk about what's going on in my life and just play really great dance music. And so that's one of the things that I'm doing. And you can find those on Apple Podcasts, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, and 1001 track lists.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't want it to end.
I know, but dude, I'm so proud of you too. This is what, episode 63. Oh no, this is episode 1 of the new. Yeah. I'm the flagship artist for the new one. I love that. But you have the previous podcast, 63 or 62 episodes.
63, yeah. It's called This Playlist, and it's awesome. I've gone through 3 co-hosts.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I mean, it's not, it just, like, sometimes creative things it doesn't work out. But the current one, her name is Risa, and she brings topics. She brings ideas. We've done, we don't get to play the music, unfortunately, on that one, but like, she brought like 70 story songs. We did like a deep cut to Duran Duran, which like broke all the records for listeners over the years. We've done we did the English Beat and Squeeze and Spandau Ballet, and it's just like, for me, it's just like that creative thing, especially during COVID. So I understand, like, you're staying busy. It's a great thing, because idle time, idle hands, I get bored easily. Okay, what can I do? Don't do that.
Yep.
And I'm so happy for you and your success.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, we've known each other for 30 years. I mean, we were 5 when we met, but no,
no, we were 4, I think.
I know, right? And I loved you then. I love you now. Thank you so much for doing this. When it's all edited and stuff, I will make sure that I give you the link. Please tell your wife that I said hello.
I will, for sure.
Tell your mom and dad I said hello, and maybe
I just saw them yesterday. Yeah, they were just over yesterday.
Kendrick says hi. Who? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, I don't. Trust me, my mom will remember. You already know that.
Well, I mean, I kind of stuck out.
Yeah.
Like, one more quick thing. When you guys did the signing at Bakersfield, I remember that was the biggest one, I think, for you guys, that signing. There's a whole bunch of people, and we got behind the table, and they're like, oh, you guys can't do it. And you guys kind of all looked at them like, they're cool. They're with them. We were like, yeah, that's right. And then we chased you down the freeway until you guys got off and we couldn't go anymore. So many fun times, so much stuff. Maybe I will send you something. I don't know. You can tell me if it's good or not, whatever. If you dash my dreams, that's cool. Still love you. And thank you so much for doing this. Continued success. And I just love you so much, Damon. Thank you so much.
I love you, man.
All right. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, definitely, bro.
All right. And listeners, this is the first episode of Is This Your Chat with my good friend Damon Sharpe. Good night.